You've misunderstood Pluto this whole time. Pluto isn't here to destroy you. It's here to unlock you. You've been told it's the planet of death, of endings, of transformation through chaos. But on May 4th, when Pluto goes retrograde, that narrative cracks. Now, while that truth still holds some weight, you'll still face a few challenges. Unlocking doesn't mean easy. It just means the door is finally within reach. Pluto, this so-called planet of shadows, isn't tearing things down this time. It's acting like a cosmic locksmith, unlocking hidden permissions that have been dormant in your field for years. If you've been feeling like everything is getting blocked lately, conversations falling flat, weird delays, people ghosting you for no reason, keep watching, because there's one specific reason the universe is doing this on purpose. And I'll tell you exactly what it is, but not yet. First, there's something else you need to know. Something big. Because even though Pluto's unlocking the cell door, it's not the only one holding the keys. This isn't a retreat, it's a recalibration of power in the new age. For the first time in over 200 years, Pluto is retrograding without retreating into Capricorn. It's staying put in Aquarius. Even in reverse, it's refusing to go back. This isn't symbolic anymore, this is territorial. The age of Aquarius isn't approaching, it's arriving. And Pluto, it's making sure the door stays open. But here's the twist. Pluto is hovering right at the threshold, between 3 degrees and 1 degree. It's like a king who crossed into a new kingdom, but hasn't taken more than a few steps past the gates. Everything feels stalled, like something's brewing, charging, watching, because it is. Your energy is not broken, it's being rewired. There's something subtle and strange that always happens when Pluto turns retrograde. It doesn't blast into your life like a meteor. It flips the polarity of your field when you're not looking. What once pulled people in, now pushes them away. What used to fall into place, now slips through your fingers. Your presence, your voice, your timing, they all start behaving like they belong to someone else. One moment, it feels like you walk into a room and everyone listens. The next, you could scream and still feel invisible. This isn't rejection. This isn't you losing your edge. It's Pluto switching out the magnet inside you. Pluto isn't testing your popularity, it's fine-tuning your gravity. The people, opportunities, and rhythms that used to respond to you were built around who you were. But retrogrades aren't about who you were, they're about who you're becoming. That means the old signal won't work anymore. This is where things get surreal. You might notice odd communication gaps. People saying they messaged you when there's nothing on your phone. Calls that don't ring, words that vanish mid-conversation. It's not Mercury. It's that your field is sending and receiving on a frequency your current timeline doesn't fully understand yet. Magnetism doesn't disappear during a Pluto retrograde. It reprograms itself for the version of you that's trying to arrive. And if you've been feeling like you're being quietly rerouted, you're right. You are. But the real strangeness? That starts the moment the clock hits 0. You're not imagining the patterns, you're remembering the future. There's a window, exactly 66 hours. It begins the moment Pluto goes retrograde. And during that time, reality starts to echo. You'll think of someone and they'll text. You'll see the same number again and again and again. You'll get déjà vu that doesn't just flicker, it loops. You'll feel like the world is trying to show you something, but keeps speaking in code. It's not your imagination. It's not coincidence. It's not just synchronicity. Pluto is fracturing temporal repetition, cracking the loop so that insight can fall through the cracks. This 66-hour period is one of the rarest energetic stretches of the year. It's when your subconscious becomes a receiver, tuned into what's about to happen, before your conscious mind has caught up. You might feel like the air is charged, like the world is thinner. You might start remembering things you've never lived, seeing animals that seem to follow you, hearing a phrase more than once in completely different contexts. Don't brush it off. Don't rationalize it away. These are not signs. They're coordinates. Pluto's not just moving backwards, it's pulling threads from the future into the now. And for exactly 66 hours, you get a glimpse, not just of what's coming, but of what you're already entangled with. So write it all down. Every repeating detail, every weird gut feeling, every scene that seems to repeat with new actors. Because what feels random now will soon reveal a pattern too precise to ignore. Everything that stops working during this retrograde is not broken. It's waiting for your override. You might start feeling it already, this slow, creeping sense that something's off. Like certain parts of your life are unplugging without warning. Maybe your motivation suddenly dips. Maybe people stop responding the way they used to. Maybe your momentum stalls just as things were picking up speed. At first glance, it looks like everything's breaking down. But it's not. That's the trap. Pluto's retrograde comes with what I call the power outage trick. And it's exactly that, a trick. A stage shutdown. It's your system pretending to fail so that you're forced to step in manually and decide what comes back online. That project you abandoned last year, it flickers. That idea you were scared to commit to, it starts calling louder, right as your usual sources of direction go quiet. You're not being tested in the way people think. You're being handed authority, but only if you realize that the silence isn't a void, it's an invitation. When the automatic path turns off, that's when you learn how to override it. That's when you realize your energy doesn't depend on the external green lights anymore. You are the switch now. This retrograde isn't trying to crush your progress. It's asking you, what are you willing to manually restart? And if you can bring it back to life during a blackout, that's when it's yours for real. There's always a fourth option, the one that hides itself from logic. Most people only ever see three choices: yes, no, and wait. But Pluto's retrograde doesn't deal in logic. It opens something stranger, a fourth door that doesn't show up in dreams or meditations, or even in moments of clarity. This door shows up in misalignment. It's the wrong train that gets you to the exact person you needed to meet. It's the coffee you spilled that made you look up right before someone unexpected walked by. It's the glitch, the delay, the missed connection. And right now, that's where the new coordinates are hiding. This isn't about forcing signs to mean something. It's about noticing what keeps interrupting your plan, because the interruptions aren't accidental. The forbidden fourth door never introduces itself the way you'd expect. It hides in what looks like the broken, the delayed, the inconvenient. But the moment you stop trying to fix the disruption and start following it, that's when things get strange. Not bad strange, aligned strange, like your path just curved in a way that logic could never explain. And suddenly, you're somewhere that feels both unfamiliar and deeply right. So during this retrograde, pay attention to what doesn't go your way. Not with frustration, but with curiosity. Because somewhere inside the missteps and reroutes, something is watching to see if you'll finally stop choosing the obvious doors and start noticing the one that's been waiting in the static. When your aura feels heavy, it means you're becoming undeniable. If you've been waking up feeling like your energy is dragging behind you, like your own presence is thick and slow and strange, this is not burnout, It's density, spiritual density. And no, it's not something to cleanse or shake off. This is Pluto adding mass to your field. Not metaphorically, energetically. It's an upgrade that doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives like a weighted cloak being laid over your shoulders. At first, you might think something's wrong, like you're less light, less vibrant, less available than usual. But what you're really becoming is harder to manipulate, harder to dilute, harder to ignore. There's a reason people might start reacting to you differently during this retrograde. Some may feel drawn in without knowing why. Others might flinch or pull away, not out of dislike, but because your new frequency reveals theirs. This kind of aura doesn't chase, it magnetizes. But first, you have to stop trying to feel normal again. Let the heaviness settle. Let your presence stretch. This is your new gravity coming online. Pluto doesn't block what's meant for you. It blocks what will destroy you. Remember earlier, when I said there's one specific reason why everything's been getting blocked lately? Why the momentum feels choppy, like you're being held at the edge of something you can't quite reach? This is it. Pluto is saying no, and not because you're unworthy, but because you're walking toward things that don't belong in the version of your life that's being built behind the scenes. That weird silence from someone you thought was aligned, that project that got delayed out of nowhere, that sudden gut feeling to not send the message, even though your mind said go. These aren't random. And they're not Mercury's usual communication tricks either. This is Pluto, stepping in like an invisible security system. It doesn't send a warning. It just blocks. What's wild is, most of us don't notice these blocks until we start pushing. We feel the resistance and assume something's wrong. So we double down, we over-explain, we force a response. But Pluto doesn't respond to force. It mirrors intent. So when you push against its no, it doesn't bend. It goes quiet. This is what people get wrong about spiritual alignment. Not everything that feels good is meant to stay. Not every opportunity is your breakthrough. Some are bait. Pluto knows the ones that glitter with false light, the people who speak your language but not your frequency, the timelines that look safe but would gut you 6 months in. It sees what you can't, and it acts without asking for your permission. And yes, it hurts, because Pluto doesn't explain itself. It just removes. But what if every missed call right now is a dodge? What if every glitch is a gate closing before it can collapse on you? Sometimes divine protection looks like failure, and it feels personal, but it's precision. This retrograde isn't here to coddle. It's not here to nudge. It's here to intercept. It's drawing hard lines between where you've been and where you're going, and anything that still smells like the past is being edited out, even if it looks beautiful on the surface. So if things are stalling right now, let them stall. If you're being ignored, stay silent. If something slipped through your fingers, trust that Pluto's fingerprints are on that too. Because this is not rejection, it's redirection. Ruthless, strategic, sacred redirection. You're not off track, you're just being kept from a detour that would have wasted your magic. Right now it feels like something's happening, but you can't prove it. There's no headline, no milestone, just this strange pressure in the air, like reality itself is holding its breath. But that's exactly how Pluto works. It doesn't move with spectacle. It moves like a whisper behind the curtain, changing the set while you're still standing on stage. Between May and August, everything you think you understand about your direction is going to glitch, not in a dramatic way, but in a slow, echoing unravel. People will shift roles. Opportunities will drift in, then vanish. Your own desires might shapeshift in real time. And every time you try to lock something in, it will feel like you're trying to staple fog to the wall. But this isn't chaos. It's choreography. Pluto is dismantling the inner scaffolding that held up your past version, not to collapse you, but to rebuild you in stealth mode. You are being reorganized at a level your mind doesn't have clearance for yet. That's why clarity feels distant. That's why closure feels suspended in air. But make no mistake, you are not standing still. Your timeline is updating behind the scenes. The lag you feel, that's divine sequencing. By the time August arrives, it'll hit like a soft but seismic realization. You don't belong to that old vision anymore. The people who left, the paths that dissolved, the plans that couldn't hold, they'll suddenly make sense. Not through logic, but through lived truth. You'll feel the realignment click in, and you'll wonder how you didn't see it before. That job you didn't get, that place you didn't move to, that message you never sent. It'll all come back around, not as regret, but as relief. You won't just understand why things didn't happen, you'll be grateful they didn't. This Pluto retrograde isn't a detour. It's the long tunnel that only opens if you agree to keep walking, even when the map disappears. So don't demand a plot twist. Don't chase a sign. Just keep moving like you're already free, because by August you'll realize you were never stuck. And the strangest part? The most life-altering moment of this retrograde might be one you don't even notice at the time. It won't be loud. It won't feel cosmic. It'll be a simple decision, a small step, a casual no, and it'll quietly reroute the rest of your life. So keep walking. Trust the fog. The shape is forming, even if you can't see it yet. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.